in the health sector, Nigerian resident doctors are bracing for another round of industrial action after issuing a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government to implement packages that would improve the welfare of its members or face industrial action. The doctors will embark on strike next week if government fails to meet their demands. Well, let's refresh your mind and tell you how the doctors reached that decision just last week in Lafia, Nasarawa State.
The next demand the immediate implementation and payment of the new hazard and payment of arrears of the new hazard allowance as contained in the circular from the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission dated 22nd December 2021. The NEC urged the federal government to expedite action on the payment of the skipping arrears for 2014, 2015, and 2016 to deserving members as the patience of the association is waning concerning this matter. The NEC demands immediate payment of consequential adjustment of the minimum wage to our members who have been deprived these benefits since it was implemented several years ago. The NEC demands an immediate review of the consolidated medical salaries structure and other related allowance given the current economic situation in the country. As the 2023 appropriation bill is being prepared, the NEC called for increased funding of the health sector in the country to the tune of 15% budgetary allocation in line with the 2001 Abuja Declaration for Health Financing in Africa.
Well, for an update on the planned strike, we're now being joined remotely by Dr. Ishaya. He is the national president of the Association of Resident Doctors. Dr. Ishaya, thank you so much for being here and joining us tonight. I wish we were having a better conversation with you, but your notice of strike is coming just, barely a few days after ASU issued another extension of its 5-month-long strike. And of course, we do know that residents in Abia State have been on strike for almost a year. And here we are, federal government says it's broke, but now it says it is time for us to go on strike. Is there any other option available to the Association of Resident Doctors other than embarking on this industrial action, which we know has its implications?
Well, thank you very much, Amaka, for having me on the program today. Well, recall that last year, October the 6th, when we suspended our strike, I made it known to the Nigerians that a lot of the issues that led us into the strike were still issues that were still work in progress. And we had hoped that things would have moved smoothly so that we wouldn't have to issue an ultimatum or even contemplate relapsing into an industrial action. However, we have followed up on the issues as they were. We have made significant progress and successes recorded on some other issues, but largely some of the issues were still not resolved and lingered beyond the period of time that we had hoped we would have gotten them resolved. Particularly, if you recall, the major issue that led us into the strike last year was this issue of the hazard allowance. A lot of our members were contracting diseases at the places of their work, and we cried that the 5,000 hazard allowance was not longer feasible and tenable to the whole health workers. And we agitated for it. Negotiation concluded, even though we did not totally agree with it initially, but we had to accept it for the sake of the patriotism that our members have for the country. And 7 months down the line, it has not yet been implemented. So, and a lot of other issues, just as you have enumerated in our that we have enumerated in our press release. So we felt we need to cry out again to the government that this issue have largely been neglected, and urge them that they should look into it and see that our hazard allowance, as agreed and circularized unilaterally by the government themselves, is implemented. And also some of the salary arrears that the government owed our members are paid, because almost um, 7 years down the line, some of our members are still being owed arrears in salary, which uh, by now the value of it had really gone very low, if they were paid, compared to if they were paid as at when they were owed those arrears. So we had a lot of issue that we have been very considerate and understanding with the government, but we want the government also to look at our plight and move in the direction that we can actually go past these issues.
Well, Dr. Godia, I mean, these are trying times indeed for Nigerians generally, not only for doctors, not only in the academia. We're going to 6 months now. ASU has been on strike. The poor masses of this country, where is your patriotism to them? They've not had any improvement in the minimum wage. Prices of social amenities are skyrocketing. Where is the patriotism by NAD?
So the patriotism is there, because if you look at it, these are issues that these issues that we are discussing are not the issue, or rather are not things that started now. There are issues that have been there for, just as I said, for some over 7 years. Even the minimum wage that you alluded to, that was implemented, a lot of our members still have not benefited from the consequential adjustment, as it were. They are still being owed arrears of the consequential adjustment. And that is the reason why we are crying out that the, 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 the we have been patriotic and will continue to be patriotic, because the country is ours and we are all stakeholders in the affairs of the country and also the health sector. So if we have had understanding with the government for this long, and I think the Nigerians also should understand that these are issues that have lingered for long, that we are asking that the government should ensure that these issues are resolved amicably without us having to go on strike. We haven't, there is no, for us, for the NEC, there is nothing difficult in implementing the hazard allowance, the new hazard allowance act. It was the government themselves that apportioned, or rather apportion the amount to the various cadres of health workers themselves, without recourse to even our own initial position. But we still had to accept it because of the patriotism that we have. And it's the same document released by the government themselves that we're asking them, okay, implement it for us. But 7 months down the line, still that hasn't been implemented.
Well, the ultimatum you gave is 2 weeks. It's 1 week down, 1 week to go. We're just hoping that, you know, for the sake of Nigerians, that some sort of agreement can be reached between your association as well as the government. Dr. Ishaya Godia, we'll have to say thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program.